Hello everyone, my name is Jasmine from JazzDrawsArt and I am here with Inktober 2022 week 1. Now I have had one of the biggest struggles with Inktober this year, and it's not for a lack of trying or being motivated. It's for a lack of home space being a certain way and supplies not being what I need them to be. So I have really struggled with this year, and I did try hard. I will say that. You can't say that I didn't, because I did try pretty hard this year to make it good, and I still think that I persevered and I got through it, so what the heck. But yes, day 1 was gargoyle, and for gargoyle, I mean, there's a lot of different things. A lot of people would think Hunchback of Notre Dame or the show Gargoyles. And then I, on the other hand, thought, what if I did Beauty and the Beast in the castle when it was turning from dark back into a light, beautiful castle? And I tried to show that with like the glimmer and the magic, with the sparkly magic where the rain washes all the ugly, dark, sad stuff away, and so it's like a transition piece. And in my head it looked really cool, and I think it could have looked really cool if I had marker paper and my good quality markers, because all my stuff has been packed away. So, you know, hey, I didn't really have a chance to get everything I needed out of it. My stuff's been packed away, and so I had to buy cheap supplies from like Walmart and the dollar store, and Walmart didn't have a great selection, so I went mostly from the dollar store. And this paper is not mixed media. They didn't have any that were at the time, and so this is the best I could do. And the markers are actually not bad, but they need marker paper because it pills up this paper, makes it soggy, and then just starts like ripping off like really easily, and it darkens. It doesn't blend at all. And so I really tried to use the colors as well. The colors were not a great selection. Like, they're not horrible, but they're just super saturated and not what I needed. It was really hard to find a combination and how to place it. So this is a lot more of a challenge for me than it has been in the past. And Inktober is already hard enough. Trying to make sure I upload something every day and every week on all my social media for an entire month is draining, but I did my best, and I still like the idea of this one. And maybe I might try and do this one digitally someday if I have the stamina. But as you can see, I think the videos for some reason got rearranged here, but I'm just gonna leave it because the video file has not been kind to me and I don't want it to corrupt again. So I hope you guys enjoy it still anyway. And day 2, the prompt was scurry, and I straight up was like, there's so many different things that I could draw for this, and I did not have a clue which one to pick. So I ended up just asking my mom, hey, what do you think of when you think of scurry? And she said a squirrel, because we have a lot of squirrels in our yard, in our backyard, and everything in our street. There's so many animals, wild little animals, but we see squirrels running across the street all the time, especially with the apple trees. They go and pick up the apples from my neighbors' yards and carry them up a tree and hide. It's really cute, actually. But yeah, I just tried to keep this one a bit more simple and draw a squirrel and some really rough looking grass, but hey, I still think it's cute. I really like this drawing a lot. I also had a lot of issues recording things. If you don't see like the full entire process of things, it's probably because my phone did not want to record after a certain amount of time limit. So I've been trying to work my best by using any kind of recording device I have. Alright, day 3 was bat. Now I actually did try a few attempts actually of drawing an actual animal, bat, and it just was not looking good. It was not working out, and I was just struggling with it so much. And so I decided, okay, what else could I draw? I guess there's Batman, and I mean there's a lot of other things I could have done, but I settled, okay, I'll draw Batman because I like comic books and it's not that bad. See what I mean? It's skipped over, but you will see the completed picture at the end of the video, so don't skip out. But I ended up drawing Sam Heughan's Batman because he did Batman live on stage, and so that's the only way I could get myself to do Batman. And also, I don't have a problem really with drawing him because I want to do comic books for a living. Alright, the next prompt for the next day is scallop. Now, you could straight up draw just a scallop, but I wanted to make it a little bit more fun than that, so I drew like a ocean, seashells, starfish kind of scene and tried to use the different colored markers to see if I could pull it off. What I was thinking in my head where it'd be cool designs and try not to soak the paper too much. But you'll see what happens. I don't think it came out that badly. I actually think it worked out. Maybe not as neatly as I wanted it to because it did bleed a lot and make it look not as in-depth, but I did my best with this situation. It was still a lot of fun to try and figure things out like a puzzle. I remember having to do this kind of stuff in assignments at school for art class or for art school, and I really just had to fly off the seat of my pants here and do anything I could to make it work and just keep adding and going, because you're gonna hate it like the whole time until it's done. And even then you still might hate it, but at least you know that you tried and that you put something into it to make it better. And so you're gonna see me here doing a bunch of line work, bunch of shading, bunch of dotting, bunch of lines, cross hatching, everything you can think of. Yeah, I did it. This one actually turned out pretty cool. I'm not gonna lie, I don't hate it. I feel like it's a big struggle, but I'm happy that I was able to kind of push through it and make myself accomplish something and actually get this done. If you guys knew the turmoil of all the things I have to do right now and the way I've been living in like with barely to no furniture, yeah, it's a struggle, but we're getting through it. We're getting closer. Also, I'm getting closer to finally being able to bring my stuff back, so fingers crossed that happens and we don't have any more hiccups. But yes, I found a few reference pictures of different scallop shells and like seashells and everything that I thought would be cool, and then started also kind of just pulling on my own design what I thought would look nice. I actually really love seashells and stuff like that because it reminds me very much of my my grandparents, and because they live in like by the coast, and so I really enjoyed like doing this kind of thing. I have seashells and stuff, not like a bunch, just like a couple actual seashells in my room, just as decoration, things that I've picked up and kept and stuff like that. But I had a lot of fun doing this, and I love the pink starfish. Like, I love the pink starfish so much. It's probably one of my favorite parts because of the pop of color I got from it. Gorgeous. I have in fact touched a starfish, by the way, and I hated it. The texture of it is just, I really didn't like it. It was cool to see it move and everything. Like, that didn't bother me. It was the texture of it, and it freaked me out a little bit. But, I mean, I was a little kid. It felt to me just super weird. Super weird. I don't really want to hold sea creatures in my hand. Not my thing. But, I still enjoyed like the scenery and the beauty of it, and so that's why I really like this, because it felt kind of nostalgic to me. I also haven't been to the coast in what has it been? Wow, 2006. So yeah, long time for me. But yes, you're gonna see that I tried to just place colors where I thought they should go and tried to make everything have good color harmony and fill it up, and you'll see that I draw a box and draw inside that instead of doing all the way to the corners and the edges. It's because I'm trying to keep it from getting the paper completely soggy and drenched and drying out all my markers using it on one page of paper that really doesn't like ink or any kind of wet media. Like, I'm talking, I don't think it would even like ballpoint pen at this point. It is probably just meant for cheap pencil. What do you want? But hey, you can't say that I didn't try and make cheap supplies work. And if you can only afford cheap supplies, you can still make good art on it. And I'm not saying you can't, I'm just saying you gotta be really careful about what you use in it sometimes. If it's not meant for wet media, don't use it. So use dry media. Anyway, next day. What was this one? Oh yes, the prompt was flame. I mean, I could draw a straight up flame. There's a lot of different things that were on fire. I also thought about Jean Grey's Phoenix. That was more so after I started drawing this one. But I decided, hey, I haven't really drawn Johnny Storm for my YouTube channel, so why not do that one? I tried to find a good pose and then basically draw fire, which is not my strong point, but I am trying to learn and get better at it. So this one looks kind of messy, and it was really hard with, again, the paper and my markers. You're gonna hear that a lot because it did screw me over in so many attempts. Because there's so many ones that I tried to do that just did not work, and I ended up not putting in here. And so many attempts for like the same prompts. So this is one of the ones I kept, and I think in theory it looks really cool, and like if I was able to have it cleaned up and maybe if I went over it in digital and enhanced it, it would look really cool. But yes, Johnny Storm of the Fantastic Four, the Human Torch. I really love this character. He's my favorite in the Fantastic Four, and not just because Chris Evans played him in the original movies, but also because I really love him in the comics. I think he's hilarious, and I love his relationship with other people, especially like Spider-Man and him have like a great back and forth, and I think he's a really good moral character, even if he can be a bit of the, you know, hot-headed blonde gorgeous guy, kind of dumb jock-ish. You know what I mean. He has his moments. He's a good boy. I thought it would look more dramatic if I, like, to make him look like he's glowing more, if I did like a kind of like a scratchy black background. But I couldn't get it to look quite the way I wanted it. So you're gonna see I just tried to make it look like black flame shadow things. But again, all in all, I think with what I did, it looked good. I also end up going over it again with black on him to give him dimension, because he just looked like he had no features anymore and no definition. All the stuff I drew in pencil was like gone. So I wanted to enhance that up after I did the background like this. Yeah. And so we fill it in. I also tried to draw on, like, literally looking at pictures from comics and stuff and how they draw them. And I mean, there's so many different styles of how they do it and pull it off in the fire and everything. I tried to just make it work the best way I could. Alright, so the prompt for this one was bouquet. Not a big surprise here. I drew a bouquet of flowers that I found online and kind of just mixed in some flowers I thought would look nice, or leaves wherever I needed it. So it's not like really exactly off a photo. It was just like, I liked the jar in it, and I liked that it had sunflowers, and the rest of it was kind of my thing. I don't have a problem drawing flowers. I absolutely love to draw flowers. They're one of the things that I just doodle freehand all the time. Mindlessly. I do it in like notebooks, and I used to do it in school. I just love to draw flowers. Flowers are one of my calm things, even though certain things can be really difficult about flowers. I mean, in general, if you're just doing loose stuff, it still looks pretty, and you don't have to be exactly precise with it to make it look good, like, because it's not gonna be perfectly symmetrical. You gotta remember that. Everything bends, it rips, it's a different shape, it's a different size, all of that. So I really just went ham with it, and I added so many like things like baby's breath and all these different little things sticking out of it, and all these different flowers. I really like drawing this one. It was kind of like a wind down piece after the other one stressing me out. I also didn't color this one in because I decided thin, like solid black and white line work was the best way to go on this kind of paper if I was going to use wet media. But I did enjoy drawing all of this, even if I had to go over it again in ink, which is the point. I know, it's just I'm so used to drawing things in just one time, just with the pencil or something. Pencil is my favorite dry medium. But I did really like the way it looked, and I ended up going over certain parts and filling in certain parts with my other markers that I bought, just because I needed something other than the solid little tiny pens that I was using. And so I got some thicker pens and markers to go in between and everything. Inktober definitely is a drain, you guys. If you ever decide you're gonna do it, you really have to dedicate yourself and get some discipline. Because even if you love to draw every day, this is such a difficult challenge. Not to mention, even if you're like, this is hard enough, but if you're going to record it and post it, that is just insane. And I applaud all people who do it this time of year. I absolutely love and respect everyone's work that comes out this time of year, because I know how hard it is, and I also know that some really incredible stuff can come from prompts of things that you never expected. Like, you would never think of yourself if you weren't like given that one chance to think about, hey, what would I do if I was given this obscure word or thing that I've never drawn before? And it really pulls all these things out of you that you didn't know you had. And so I had a lot of fun doing that, especially this one was one of my favorites I did. Yeah, I go back and add some line details. You're gonna just see a bunch of little ticks and lines and wrinkles and everything. Yeah, like I said, I'm adding like all the veins to the leaves. A whole bunch of depth. Alright, on to the next prompt. And the next prompt is... yeah, you're gonna see my head every once in a while. Sorry about that. Yes, the next prompt is trip. Okay. Trip. I had a lot of fun. Now, a lot of people are probably going to think road trip or flying or like trip wire, you know, whatever, things like that. And everyone's going to have a different idea for this one, which is why I loved it. And me being the person that I am, the legitimate first thing that actually popped into my head was the road trip in the Goofy movie. I love the Goofy movie. I am of the generation to absolutely adore this movie. I grew up watching it with my brothers and family, and I love the soundtrack from it. I love Goofy in general. He's my favorite like original Disney character, even though I love them all. I think they're all adorable. But Goofy always cracked me up, and this movie is just fantastic. It's always a good time. It's one of my like go-to feel-good movies in general. Still to this day, when I need to pick me up, I watch the Goofy movie. And so I thought what would look really good in black and white as well for trip. Yeah, a road trip. So I did a part from when they're singing on the road, you know, on the open road. Yeah, it's so good. I'm actually pretty pleased with myself. I mean, it's not perfect, but you can obviously tell what it is. I mean, even if you haven't seen the movie, you still know that I drew Goofy and his son Max. Like, I had so much fun with this, and I absolutely want to draw Goofy again. Whether it's for myself or for you guys. I adored this character. I also felt it was really satisfying to fill him in because it's just solid black. against the white background. It just felt so satisfying to not have to do all these weird details and hope it turns out. It's like all I have to do is actually just fill in their bodies and stuff and leave the rest, keep it simple. Now I'm adding a bonus one because a lot of my other ones didn't record properly and you feel like you might get gypped. So this prompt was match. Now you're going to be really confused as to why I drew a girl. The reason for that is actually because I'm like, I don't want to draw an actual match. As I said, I'm not great at fire, and so I thought like matchmaker, no. What could I do? And then I thought, hey, my Outlander crowd. In the show Outlander, Brianna Fraser, Jamie Fraser's daughter, ends up recreating matches, and she is technically the person that invented it in the show. And so I drew Brianna, but I realized I used a reference picture where she didn't have matches, but she was holding a pen or a pencil, so I ended up just turning it into a match and showing a bit of her sitting at her table of like inventions. Again, I had a lot of issues and I tried a few times to get it right. This is as close to her as I could get at the time. I was also really crunched for time, but still I like this and I tried to make it work. Everything about this is perseverance, you guys. Don't give up even if you think it sucks. So here are the pieces for the first week of Inktober. I hope you guys liked it. I hope you're still with me. Make sure to give this video a like and to subscribe for more content like this. And I will try to come back again next week with my next batch of Inktober stuff, and hopefully it will work out better than it already has right now. Yes, all of these. I think my favorite's Bouquet and Trip, because those ones just pop out to me. I absolutely adore them. Thank you so much, you guys, and hope to see you guys in the next video. Bye!